What if I told you that competition between women is a result of patriarchy, and that competing with other women is the biggest scam that leads to our self destruction? And actually, supporting other women, embracing sisterhood is the biggest secret to happiness, to growth, to self love. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sabina, and this channel is now dedicated to awakening the feminine essence through spiritual insights, soulful guidance, and belly dancing. In this video, I will tell you the truth about competition between women, how it originated, and I will give you advice and insights to help you overcome this. I will also share my experience as a belly dancer and as a practicing dancer that competes in dance competitions, because I feel like this has been the biggest driver for having this amazing awakening that has helped me to heal my sister wound. The sister wound, if you haven't heard this term before, describes the competition, jealousy, insecurity between women, the betrayals that I'm sure every woman has experienced. I love how it comes from the word sister, because that is the core essence of what all women should be in relation to each other. We should be this supportive community that help each other to grow, that nurture each other and actually share each other's wisdom, and ultimately helps us to grow. But most importantly, it actually nurtures the whole world. The love, the support, the wisdom that we can pass on to each other actually affects everyone around us. Now, let's look at the origins of the sister wound. Firstly, did you know that before patriarchy, women were actually in charge? Yes, we were these queens. We were the ones that men fought for. Now, men were actually the ones that fought each other. It is very much in a man's nature to conquer, to compete. This is because the way a man's brain is structured is it's more egocentric than a woman's. I'm not saying this to insult men, but this is actually how it is. Whereas a woman, we are more focused on abundance mindset, we are more focused on the nurturing mindset. As you may know, we have higher levels of agreeableness. This is because we are wired to resolve conflicts with love, with kindness, rather than with fighting. Whereas a man is different. And so before, when we were in charge, we were very much in tune with nature. We had a lot of spiritual wisdom. The cultures, the communities were also run through spiritual wisdom. We followed traditions that really helped embody sustainability, embody working with Mother Nature. And we were very much in tune with the sisterhood idea. We were way more collaborative. We had abundance mindset. And this is also important to highlight. You see, as women, we are very much connected to Mother Nature, because think about it. Mother Nature provides life, and so do we. And so Mother Nature, if you look around, actually provides enough for everybody. And so it's very much in our nature to hold abundance mindset. And that is one of the most powerful spiritual insights that we as a collective should be working towards, this abundance mindset. The idea that you don't have to fight each other, you need to collaborate. Now, back to the origins of the sister wounds. Men did not like that we were so strong, we were so connected with each other, because women shared a lot of wisdom with each other. But due to our strong wisdom, due to our abundance mindset, it was very difficult for men to keep conquering and keep fighting for our attention. And remember what I said at the start, they are very egocentric, and they did not like the idea that they always had to put up a fight. They also did not want to risk being left without a family. Men were afraid of the idea of not being able to pass on their lineage, and so they turned it around to make us be the ones that had to fight for male attention. So women now had to fight for male attention. And so the system was switched, men came to power, they were now the ones that held the finances. We, long story short, had to be dependent on them for finances and essentially for surviving. And so now we had to fight for their attention. This was spread over many centuries, and even though a lot of us don't necessarily grow up thinking that, oh my god, I need to fight for this guy, and we'll be very young, we'll be in high school, we'll be teenagers, but this imprint that has been developed over centuries and passed down is still there, unfortunately. But of course, now through spiritual insight and inner work, we're able to rewire that. And that is the big driver of why I am doing this video. A lot of toxic things arose from this competition between women and the way we now had to fight for male attention. One of them being the objectification of a woman's body to suit the male gaze. From here, you can imagine all of the competitiveness, the insecurity, the jealousy, the plotting against each other that has come about. Now, you might be asking, okay, so women have to fight for male attention, but males also had to fight for women's attention. But again, remember the difference between the male nature and the female nature. Male nature, more egocentric, up for a battle, all about conquering. Competition is pretty much in their nature. Women, on the other hand, need to be more nurturing. They need to focus on abundance mindset. They are the creatresses of this planet. It's in our nature to provide. It's in our nature to understand the wisdom of Mother Earth, because we ourselves are the embodiment of Mother Earth. We provide life, we create life. We understand that there is enough for everybody to go around, and we have this innate connection and feeling to the fact that everything here is created from love. Love in itself is a very creative force, it's very constructive. Please don't think that I'm trying to put men in a negative light here. I do believe that we need to come together and that we balance each other out. But in this video, I am talking about how patriarchy has created the sister wound, and so I have to highlight these things. Now brings me on to beauty standards and relationships between men and women. So one of the ways that you can heal your competition with other women is to not fall for the beauty standards scam. Now, look, we understand that we live in a world where, yes, this matrix is where we have beauty standards. There are appearances that conventionally are considered attractive. That is just the world that we live in. But you need to understand this is very much the 3D programming. If you're new to spirituality, 3D essentially describes the matrix, 3D describes the material world. And yes, in the 3D, we have conventional beauty and appearances, but we are actually spiritual beings and we're very connected to energy, whether you're spiritual or not. And I'm sure many of you understand that beauty is not everything when it comes to love. It's energy. People connect on a soul level. You can be very average, you might be below average, but sometimes you can have this connection with a person, and that is real love. And so, as a woman, you really need to remember that it's not about the external, it's the internal that then actually has an effect on the external. Now, that is moving more onto the 4D and 5D. This is when it's your inner energy, your inner consciousness, your inner vibration that you put out into the world that affects the way you appear. So, someone that is full of confidence, self love, charisma appears so much more attractive, even if they're not conventionally beautiful. And that is the secret power and the thing that you need to strive for. You shouldn't strive to be more pretty than someone else, but you should strive to actually feel pretty, actually feel beautiful and confident from within. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with actually striving for physical beauty, because we are still living in the 3D, we're still in the material world, we're not these spiritual beings that have reached enlightenment. We are in this matrix we are on this earth. As well as looking after yourself and your physical beauty, it's also great to try and attain spiritual beauty, try and connect more to the feeling of self-love, acceptance, of radiance, of happiness. Someone that is happy, full of self-love, is way more glowing than someone who is competitive but, on the physical plane looks good. And actually, whether a man is spiritual or not, he will always feel your energy. And that is actually the number one thing that men go for. It's how you make them feel, it's the atmosphere that you can create. And trust me, we are spiritual beings. This cannot go unnoticed. I really hope that you're still here with me and you're grounded, because this video just became so spiritual. I did not mean for this to go this deep, but hey ho, this is what I'm channeling, this is what I believe in, and I really hope that it is helping you. I'm a professional belly dancer, and one of the things that I learned from dance is that you might not have the best technique, you might not execute things objectively the perfect way, but when you give emotion, when you give self-expression, when you really fuse with the music and just enjoy yourself, you can create the most captivating performance that just tops any professional dancer. Because really it's about the imprint that you make on people, and you do this with your internal energy, with your internal feeling that you then radiate onto people. It's like perfume that lingers in the air long after it has gone. This is the power of working with your inner state to then radiate that onto others. And this was such a great insight for me, because I realized that a woman that is A, not afraid to express herself, B, enjoys being herself regardless of whether she's perfect, is so much more charismatic than someone that is obsessed with doing all the technical things and trying to quote unquote follow the rules or be like this dancing robot. And so belly dancing has actually helped me so much to develop inner charisma, to express myself in a unique way, to tune into the feeling of love and pleasure, and essentially just glow without having to necessarily be perfect. Not to mention that doing such a beautiful art like belly dance instantly just made me feel beautiful. And so I really hope that I inspire more women to take up belly dancing. And if you want to start your journey for free from home, then I have linked a free belly dance class in the description. It's great that women nowadays have more financial freedom. We can make our own money. We don't always have to depend on a man. And you might think, well, competing for a man's attention is still a thing because women want to be in a relationship, they want to go for a high value man, etc., etc. Well, the truth is, if you ever have to compete for a man's attention and to fight for his love, he's probably not the guy for you. The right guy is someone that will choose you regardless of who is there, regardless of what other woman is interested in him. And so for that reason, I don't think that we need to compete with other women for love. If you have the chemistry, if you have a soulful connection, then nothing will take that away from you. I also do think that as a collective, we're moving on to more of a heart-led kind of consciousness, which, if you didn't know, is called the 4D. And this talks about how we are more connected to love. All of these false social constructs are starting to fall away, whether it's to do with love and how, we're brainwashed into thinking that if you're beautiful, whether you're a guy or a girl, then you have a high chance of getting love, when in reality we know that's not true. You have a higher chance of getting a hookup and having surface level connections, but when it comes to a real deep relationship, it doesn't actually matter what you look like. It's really about your energy. Or, as a guy, I guess society would have painted this picture that the more money you earn, the more success you will have in love. But again, that is not true. You might attract women with the money, but will you actually form a deep connection? Not really. What is a mindset shift that can help you overcome comparison, especially in beauty, or it doesn't have to be beauty, it could be in ability, let's say. It is to find your own unique flair. Everyone has their own unique code, something that is different, even just a little bit. And if you feel like you don't, then definitely make it your goal to find that. Again, dance has taught me that it doesn't matter if you're the best, what matters is how you are different, what makes you ever so slightly different, and you need to really embrace that. Dance has taught me that you don't have to be the best, the strongest, or the prettiest. You just have to find that thing that makes you you. Find that one thing that you feel you are good at. It could, for example, be that you're very expressive, you're very good at working with the audience, you're very good at making these facial expressions. Another person may be very elegant and very soft, and they really highlight that in their dance. Someone else is very technical and they're very energetic and powerful, and they all have something to bring to the table. I always picture this flower garden where the flowers are different, they're all beautiful in their own way, and it would be boring to just have one garden where all of the flowers are the same. You know, you can agree that actually when you have this variety, that is way more beautiful, and it's not about being better, it's really about just being you and carrying on growing, not trying to fight for the resource or the attention or the status, but for everyone to just do their best and grow and essentially create this amazing, beautiful garden, which, coming back to the idea of this video, should be sisterhood. Now let's look at another powerful mindset shift and practice, and that is actually learning from each other and using sisterhood as a way of getting inspired and as a way of self-development. When you see something that you want to have, something that you admire in another woman, it's best to see it as inspiration and see it as something that you can also learn from, rather than being jealous, rather than trying to dim someone's light. Actually, you have the power to also learn from that. And that is what sisterhood is about. It's about appreciating each other and actually teaching each other's ways. But here's the secret ingredient that not a lot of people know. Did you know that when you appreciate something in another person and you actually have positive feelings of inspiration, you actually activate that within yourself? The reason being is because when you open your heart acts as this magnet. It's like this Tor field, and when you open it, you actually invite more of what you are admiring into yourself. And this leaves a really good imprint whereby you see something that you like and you're able to embody that much more easily. When you look at something that you want and you start feeling jealous and you start feeling judgmental and saying, oh, why does she have that? Or blah, 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 you're actually repelling it. You're closing off your heart. You're giving that what you see a negative feeling and a negative connotation. And actually, your subconscious does not embody that. And you will often find that some of the things that you're really, really jealous of, that you're envious of, don't really manifest into your life. And it's only when you're able to let go and actually let love in and actually admire, that is when it's easier to manifest that same thing into your life. The other consciousness secret that many people don't know is that when we judge other people or when we think badly about other people, that actually leaves an imprint on our subconscious and we embody that. So let's say we are judging someone, we're actually giving that negative label to ourselves, and we ourselves take on that negative trait. So if we're judging someone because we think that, oh, they're stupid, they're not good enough, they don't deserve it, well, actually, that is what we take on for ourselves. That is something that we're going to manifest in our character. That is what is going to manifest in our life. So I hope that you understand how spiritually sisterhood really is like this web, this matrix, whereby if you have any issues, if you are wishing negative things to another woman, what you're really doing is actually wishing that same negativity onto yourself. I regularly compete in belly dance competitions, and one thing that I noticed is that these competitions are actually such a celebration. Seeing other women dancing, showing their talent, showing their art is so, so inspiring. And even though it's a competition, it's not really a competition against each other. It's a competition first and foremost against our own ability. So it's about us growing, it's about having the motivation to train and get better for yourself, not necessarily against another person. And it was just so amazing to see these girls being so beautiful. And the whole point of belly dancing for us really was that we saw someone else belly dancing, another woman belly dancing, and it inspired us. And so now we ourselves started to embody this art, and it's just a win-win for everybody. So that is the power and the beauty of shining, and shining in a way that inspires each other and helps each other to grow. Another amazing insight was that most women belly dance mainly for themselves. They want to feel beautiful. We love the feeling of being able to do these beautiful, sensual moves and then having to go on stage and showcase our art and express ourselves to music and look amazing, have these costumes. There is not really a goal of dancing for the male gaze. You might argue that, look, we are wired to want to attract a man, and it's in our nature to want to look good because then it means that we can pass on our genes and we will have a mate. And look, yeah, scientifically, that's probably how we are wired, but consciously, we don't really choose to dance for the male gaze, which kind of means that we dance for our own pleasure. There doesn't have to be any sort of competition in the belly dance scene or any other scene where there are a lot of women for that matter, because we are able to generate this love ourselves. We are able to get inspired from each other, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be belly dancing, and that is where growth happens. That is where we live a very heart-led life. That is where we as a collective can move on to being more heart led and move away from scarcity, move away from fighting and all the misery that this mindset would have brought us. To conclude, I want to say that yes, we all have an ego. That is the rule of the game on this earth. We can't eradicate the ego. We can't completely erase the feelings of competitiveness. But the desire to win, the desire to compete is just for the ego. It does help us to stay motivated and actually want to improve. But the true purpose of any sort of competition lies in growth. And we don't have to make that competition into a battle. We can make that into a work of art where in the end we all come together to share our gifts and inspire each other. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again.